Hey everybody, Mark Shepard here with a special edition of the Morning Cryptos post Segwit 2X. I'm not as funny as I normally am, but I really want you to watch all the way to the end because I think this is a really significant moment in the history of crypto cranking. And I want to share it with you, so let's just get started, okay? Thanks. Oh, this coffee tastes even better today now that Segwit 2X is gone. So I have not looked at anything other than this chart, and this chart is so sweet. This is Bitcoin. It didn't crash. It didn't go crazy. It just dealt with it. It just kind of settled down, So it'll be interesting to see in the next few days what happens. But before we look at the charts, let's see what's going on in the world. So anyway, here on Google, China struggles to lay killing blow to Bitcoin, but the currency thrives. When did they try to kill? It was the ICOs. But see, do you see the bias here? Like, China is not against Bitcoin. I mean, a huge majority of the Bitcoin miners are in China. Why would they be against Bitcoin? They were just against the ICOs, So, and then Jamie Dimon slur. Okay, so that's ancient history. Okay. The miners have to overcome issues. Oh, many miners have fled to China's hinterland, where cheap electricity can power massive. They didn't just fled there. They've gone there because it's cheap. Yeah, I'm not buying their news. Sorry. You know what I mean? Just see the slant. You will see it everywhere. Once you start waking up to what the mainstream media is often about, and it's really interesting. So I don't know if you're interested in that, but I am. I can't wait any longer. I got to look at see what's going on with these other prices here. Okay, so before I went to bed, I drew a little line of Bitcoin Cash, right? And it's still in there. Excuse me. Serious allergies going on right now. But this is actually a bullish flag, people. Just so you know, if you're not familiar, the tops are all the same, if you ignore the whiskers, of course, and then the bottoms are higher. So interesting. Keep an eye on Bitcoin Cash if you're into it. I think it's a good sign for you guys. I don't have any of it. One thing that's interesting is the Exodus wallet just updated yesterday, and Bitcoin Cash is now in the Exodus wallet. So if you believe in that currency and you think it's going someplace, folks, you can actually get it, right? So that's good news. And then Bitcoin, I drew this line before I went to bed, and we dipped a little bit below it, so I have to redraw the line. But it's not. It's more of a look at this. It's more of a sideways channel. Oh, one of my favorite patterns. Because when it's a sideways channel, there's price stability, right? And you can get in at the lower part of the channel. So if I were to buy Bitcoin today, I actually would be like, yeah, it's a down day. I would buy it, right? So it has none of that frenzy that the Segwit 2X was kind of bringing into the market, where people that know better than to chase a top, like me, were buying because we wanted to get a free coin, right? We wanted to get in on that lottery, right? So interesting. I think it's worth watching, and obviously it's Bitcoin. It is the king of all cryptos, and it really survived what could have been a really horrible, apocalyptic, nasty, contentious fork. So anyway, let's look at Dash. Dash boosted, and it's went all the way up almost to 340. Let's see when it did that. Let's look at the 1 hour chart here. Okay, so we're having a little retracement in Dash, but I still think it's really good. And I'm very pleased because I have a little bit of Dash, and I believe in the project. It's a project I believe in, and that's my take on investing, is that don't just invest in stuff because somebody says it's good, right? You have to really do some digging and find something that you actually believe in long enough. If you're a holding strategy, if you're just trading and you're just trading the patterns, that's fine. That's one thing. But if you want, and I keep seeing that the long-term holders are the ones that end up doing really well. And they have lower stress, and they're not worried about every little tick, uptick, downtick in the market. They're just holding. They have a longer vision, but you can't have that longer vision unless you know something about the project. How can you believe in something if you don't know anything about it, right? So there's a part of the mind, the human belief system, that comes in. And once you have enough evidence to really support a strong belief, then you don't have to work anymore. You just believe it, right? And that's where some of this comes into a religious fervor in a very interesting way, I think. So as a student of the human mind, I think this is... People, I'm addicted. I love this. It's so cool. And I want to thank you guys, particularly some of you new subscribers. Welcome. And for those of you who've been with me for a while, I love you. And I'm having a blast. And I hope I share that with you guys frequently, because I'm here by choice. No one says I have to do this, but I do this every day, not just for me and not just for you, but for both of us, because I like the fact that we can talk to each other. And as a massive introvert, I like the fact that we can talk to each other through our computers. So, coffee's good today. All right, so Dash, I wouldn't buy it right this second, but I'm believing in it, and I think it looks good. EOS, what's going on with EOS? We had a boost, we had some profit taking, and then it's looking good again. And it's not even done, people. EOS is ahead of schedule on their project, and the project is looking good. And it might give Ethereum a run for its money later on, maybe next year. So if you want to get in early on something, if you're always hearing yourself going, oh, I wish I'd gotten in early on Bitcoin, well, start looking at some of this stuff, right? Ethereum. Interesting. Ethereum boosted. I would say it's still kind of in its channel. I'm not convinced that it's ready to break out quite yet. Let's draw a line. I love drawing lines. See, because, well, that was a sad line. There we go. So, for me, that's still a good indicator that we have some stability here, but there's life in the girl. And whether we break above here or not is, if we break above here and then kind of break through this point, ultimately let me get this chart a little, this is where our real resistance is, up here. These guys, right? This is where the real resistance is for Ethereum. Now, there's been some negative news about Ethereum. They keep different aspects of their system keep getting hacked or whatever, but that's actually good. They're being tested. They're being tested by some of the best hackers in the world, right? And if there's a hack, it means they've got something to work on, and they will fix it, right? And then they get stronger. And then everybody else benefits from the challenges to the blockchain, both in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everybody else in all the other blockchain projects benefits from that because they're paying attention. The developers are, at least I hope they are, right? So anyway, I'm still liking Ethereum. I don't know if I would buy right at this point. I would prefer to buy it down here, and that's where I've been buying it. So sweet. Okay, IOTA. Let's look at IOTA real quick. Got a boost on IOTA, Internet of Things, and this is supposedly, according to the IOTA team, they have this thing called the tangle. If you haven't heard me talk about it, and essentially, with most blockchains, they have proof of work, and essentially, this is, proof of work is a math teacher collecting the papers from a test and going home and grading them. Okay. What the tangle is, it's the same thing as if you hand your math paper to the person next to you and you take someone else's math paper and you grade each other's math papers. The tangle seems to me to be the next evolution of the revolution. So that should be interesting to watch. Many of the other coins are going to proof of stake instead of proof of work, because proof of work has been a problem for both Bitcoin and Ethereum and other blockchains. So the cool thing about these different ways of verifying and doing the transaction is that there's flexibility, and the system that really works the best hopefully will influence all the rest, and the changes can be made, and boom, we move on, right? So that's the other exciting piece of being in this world, is progress, constant and continuous, never-ending improvements, right? And so cool. IOTA's looking good. All right. Want to see Litecoin? Cool. So Litecoin's still hanging up there. I would like it very much to have a boost, but I'm willing to be patient. We've had this very sweet uprise with Litecoin, a very just manageable, steady, almost predictable rise, where it has really, for the most part, stayed at $54. We have a $54 top here. We got one here. We have, kind of in the range of 54. It's just like it seemed like every time I looked at it, it was coming at 54. So it's nice to have it show a little life and boost above that. We'll see where it goes from here. Almost all the alts yesterday just boosted because it was really good news. And I think the SegWit 2X thing had been kind of holding things down. People, the uncertainty before these big events shows up in the market. And that's where the energy of these charts is so helpful, because it's like, I don't know, it's a living, breathing thing. This is a projection of our consciousness out into the world. There's, and it's ultimately an agreement. Price is an agreement between a buyer and a seller. And sometimes they're both right, sometimes they're both wrong. Sometimes one of them's right, sometimes one of them's wrong, but it's malleable and flexible, and it's not just one person, it's millions of people. And there are many more millions coming into this space every day. So it is kind of at the tipping point, and it's going exponential. That's what I think. So, and Neo is part of that. It's called the Chinese Ethereum. So interesting. And Omise Go had some boost there. I have a tiny little bit of it. Monero, we have had a nice boost, and it looks like it wants to keep boosting. And again, we had a lovely sideways channel here. And that was fun to draw lines on. Whoops. Something like that. Yeah, so we've had a boost, and we'll see if it can keep going. And let's just check on Civic against Ethereum, still hanging out. Let's check on Omise Go. No, we did that. Quantum. Let's look at Quantum against Bitcoin. We have a little lift. Quantum against Ethereum should be a little bit bigger lift and a little bit of a pullback. So, okay. All right, so here's what I really wanted to talk about. Can I talk about what I really wanted to talk about today? I think ultimately we are exposed to so much contentious politics in the U.S. and name calling, and it's constantly clouding the actual issues that face our nation and our world. What happened yesterday was really an indication that in a decentralized system that sometimes seems to be messy and chaotic, that ultimately it's in everyone's best interest in the Bitcoin ecosystem. It's in everyone's best interest for Bitcoin to thrive, right? And there's differences of opinion about how to best improve it, right? But ultimately, that decision has to be made by the community as a whole. And there was so much negative community opinion about SegWit 2x that it became really clear it wasn't going to work and it was going to fail. Whether they called it off voluntarily or whether it just failed. And I think they did the right thing to call it off. But what's really reassuring to me is that this revolution really could be peaceful. It may not always be nice. It may not always be cohesive, but it can be peaceful. So I want to leave that with you today. I just want you to kind of meditate on that a little bit, that we are in a revolution where at some point the people of the world may say, you know what? We don't need our government or our bank. All we need is the blockchain. Now, maybe that's pie in the sky stuff. Maybe that's, I'm a dreamer. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Someday I hope you'll join us so the world can live as one. We will always have disagreements. We will always have disagreements in the human family. But what if we could restructure the power structure of the world so that it was decentralized and it actually worked, so that it was decentralized and actually things still got done? And, so many people will say, well, I like infrastructure, I like roads, I like hospitals, I like knowing my water is safe to drink. But the bottom line is, we don't need to go into trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars of debt in order to keep ourselves in good roads and good infrastructure. Those debts, those trillions upon trillions of dollars of debts, have been incurred mostly for war. Over this century, the central banks have really been the financiers, the finaglers of wars. And I'm a peaceful man, and I think there's hope. So that's all I wanted to say today. I love you guys. I really appreciate you showing up. And I might be funny tomorrow. Today, I just feel really a little bit in awe of this thing called the blockchain that has been given to us. And I hope that we can be good stewards of it and that we can thrive and profit from it in the best possible way. And I hope you are part of this journey and that it prospers you. I really want the best for you. And that's why I'm here every day. And I so appreciate your support. I really appreciate your subscribing and your thumbs ups and your comments. And I'll be working on more. And I'll continue to do my best to learn and share what I've learned with you guys in a way that makes sense and also helps me to figure out what the hell is going on, because sometimes I have no clue. And I'm trying to wrap my head around technical ideas that really, it's actually good for your brain, for your neuroplasticity, to be constantly learning new things. It's like one of the best things you can do for your mind. So cryptos are not only cool, they're actually healthy for you. So enjoy. I will see you in the next one. Start the music. Have an awesome day.